Hello everyone, 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 hello everyone. Oh, what's going on here? Hello everyone, for the last time this year I'm saying you hello in race analysis video. I will separate them in different categories. The most interesting one, the hardest, the best organized one, and definitely we have to mention the worst in terms of the course. These will cover the races and we will also have crashes of the season and few bits about the statistics as well. It's been a long one, 27 starts, all with MTB, out of which few of them were in stage races, 65 hours in the saddle moving time, almost 1,400 kilometers in race mode, which is almost 15% driven on the bikes in year of 2023. So whether it's a lot or not, I don't know. But that's just the numbers, and if you're wondering where I got those numbers from, you can think that I calculated everything in the Excel sheets by hand. But in reality I did all of this automatically. So let's just dive into the most interesting ones. This year was special because I started racing in Portugal and it was Algarve's Bikes Challenge. Serbian Portuguese Nikita, we raced in pairs in Algarve Bike Challenge. It was 3-day stage race. Apart from the fact that it was my first time riding experience in Portugal, in Algarve's region, it was just brilliant and I loved every tiny piece of it. Because it was just beginning of the season, I didn't push too much just to make my feet wet into the racing, but it was just something which stuck in my memories for the good. The other one was Mouflon tracks, which was also stage race, 3-day stage race in the mountains of Poland. Organizer says that there are above 70% of racing in single tracks, and I wanted to just testify that on my own. And guess what? It was actually the true. 3 days, every single day had so many single tracks, and those single tracks are not like just riding somewhere in the forest. Majority of those were trail park network single track, so they are human-made. It was very nice experience because not always you get to ride for 40-50 kilometers of such distance, majority of which is all but those single tracks, and you are in racing mode. Even though the 3 days were not enough to make yourself tired as hell, but it was brilliant experience. The third one in the list would be Košice single tracks. Yeah, you can see that I am a bit attached to single tracks, so what's for the next season? Maybe it will be Girona single tracks or something else. Košice single tracks were actually XCM champ of Slovakia, and at the same time it was 20th anniversary event, so I didn't want to miss such chance to experience a legendary race in Slovakia. It was from 1 degree pretty hard, 75 kilometers with almost 2K of elevation, a lot of single tracks, also human-made features in the bike park scenario, but majority was actually single tracks. It was great experience and I loved every single part of it, even though it was hard, and I was definitely not up to the speed of locals, but it was just experience which you would probably want to repeat in the future as well. And there are races which you might want to come back, and there are other ones which you just do it and forget it. These three were from those which you would definitely want to repeat again, and even though none of them are in Lithuania, probably because there is a ratio between hard and fun and interesting, out of those three, Algarve's Bikes Challenge would be runner-up, because even though it was stage race, it was more or less only 2 actual stage races, and it was prologue on the first day where we had to go only a few kilometers in the night in time trial style in the city of Tavira. It lacked a bit of technical features among all the single tracks, but but in general it was just amazing experience. And I don't know, maybe it's because it was the first race of the season, maybe it was because it was a pair, maybe it was because of a lot of people. There were 1K of participants riding in pairs, so it was around 500 pairs or so. All things considered, it was good weather, good company, great courses, and it definitely left something in the memory. The most interesting doesn't have to be the hardest, so for that reason Mouflon tracks would go for the first place in 2023 season as the most interesting race for me. As mentioned, just because you go into the bike park trails, you go full speed for 40-50 kilometers, sometimes you go in double tracks, but it's just minority, and our else duration and race course is single track. Nonetheless, it was great experience, and even though I slept a bit on the brakes from time to time, it was just perfect. However, I know that if it would be the bad weather, the experience would be slightly different, because in those forests there are wooden bridges which get slippery. There are also some roots here and there. So in the Poland, when it's wet, it's a bit more tricky, but I believe that the only difference would be that you are going a bit slower, or maybe it just takes longer duration on the race course. Riding in those single tracks was something nice to experience. Mouflon tracks happens in the end of May, so that was perfect timing, and all the cars shuffled in a great way. So my number one take for 2023 season as the most interesting race is Mouflon tracks. Important thing to mention, I was not too satisfied by the way how event was organized, but the courses were great, markup was fine, and in general it was just not that type of vibe which there is in some other races. As it's about the race course and it's the most interesting experience, Mouflon tracks takes the first place. And you can also check all those videos. I have race analysis done in single video and as well as full on board, so you can just check out how and why it was so much interesting for me.
All good?
Can you?
In English? Tube?
No, Pompka. Pomp.
Take it.
Yes, okay.
I'm going. Somehow we will catch up.
If you stumble across my channel for the first time, my name is Tomas Bumblevičius, aka Tom10. Crafted here as well. You can check MTB related stuff as well as race analysis, full on boards, and the other side of the topic where it's about gear, maintenance, and a bit of analysis of technical side of things as well. So if you are into those topics, just check videos on my channel. And there is also travel videos where we travel to races, so we cover some tips and tricks and those type of things which might be useful if you are considering, maybe you are doing it on your own and want to see how other does it as well. So these kind of things which we love to share with community as well. Contenders for the hardest race of the season are from 3 different countries. One is from Estonia, other is from Lithuania, surprise, surprise, and the other one is from Slovakia. So we will begin with Hania 100, which is the hardest MTB race in Baltics, where we go for 100 kilometers, a lot of single tracks, a lot of unrolling meadow. If it's wet, you can go that distance. If you are competitive, from 5 to 7 hours. If you are weekend warrior, it can take you up to 10 hours as well. So for me this year it took a bit more than 5 hours. It was dry, almost as dry as it never is, but still it was a hell of a ride. Surprisingly, my longest race of the season happened to be at the end of the season. Kind of normal, usually you start racing at not such long distances and then you go towards the end of the season higher up. My race calendar didn't have that bump in the middle of the season. It was all around 50 kilometers duration, up to 3 hours in the saddle, more or less, half or 1 hour plus. So you can imagine that going that type of race at the end of a season was a bit of a challenge to do. Already mentioned as the most interesting, Košice single tracks was also pretty hard course, almost 2k of elevation, 75 kilometers. It was something because the single tracks were in some cases technical. The climbs were also pretty steep. I was also a bit burned out after riding Snezhnitsky Marathon 1 week ago. So the card shuffled in a way where Košice was pretty hard for me, but I somehow managed to live it through without muscle cramps, which was a bit of a problem this year during the season, but it still was very hard. And one of the rare contenders in this list is going to be Lithuanian national XCO champ, which was created by Carb Experiments this year, and the course happened to be in Vilnius. Sapieginė. For those who are not aware what Vilnius or Sapieginė is, it's very steep hills area, almost in the city of Vilnius, so actually it is a part of a city. It was very hard, and I haven't had any easy race courses in Sapieginė because it's really steep and technical and draining your energy. At the same time, I was not feeling really well on that day, and it was just compounded into one hard struggle. You can check race notes about nationals as well. These three considered, the runner-up would be Košice, because even though it was hard, it was feasible to do, and the hardest of hardest was the hardest race in Baltics, which was Hania 100. I really struggled there, but somehow I managed to finish it. Still, no surprise that this race is being called the hardest in the Baltics. And if you want to testify it on your own fur, just register it at the end of September, most often the middle or the end of September, and just testify it yourself. Maybe it will be easy for you, maybe it will be hell. It very much depends on the weather, but if you are lucky, you might survive it relatively easy. If you are not so lucky, you might come back to this video and say in the comments that hell yeah, that was the hardest one for me as well. That completely does not mean that other races were easy. I was just trying to figure out which were the hardest by feeling for me, but actually I could just have a look at the strain level data-based comparison, which was the hardest, which I might add on the screen as well. So we will see if our data supports which I actually said here. In my social channels you can find videos where I include my yearly analysis, do some graph visualization, etc. So if you are into that type of thing, you can subscribe me on Instagram at TomTenCrafted. Chances are really high that you can rewind my timeline, rewind my feed, and find out more about racing in general. And if you are into data things, if you are not, before I mention best organizement and best organization of the races, I actually noticed one very smart thing in Slovakia. Hopefully it will... No, so apparently it holds too great, so I will just add an image here. Basically, they have very smart solution for food and drinks after the races. You have a bib number where the corners are triangular, and there is a markup, one for drinks, one for eating. After the race, you come to the food point, you cut those corners with scissors, surprise, surprise, and you just don't have to bother your head where you to put those paper pieces which you get for the food, like you would get in Lithuania, for example, or in other places. It's a very great solution, and that's something for others to learn from Slovakian guys. But one other thing you could or you should not learn from Slovakians is that after the race, with the drink triangle, I don't know whether as much as you would want to, but the beer spills around freely. So I don't know whether it's a good idea, but it's happening in Slovakia. So if you love racing and you love beer and you want to testify whether Slovakian beer is good or not, you should just visit some Slovakian races. Maybe they are not giving the beer in all the ones, but Snežnický and Košice single tracks definitely does it. Myself, I don't drink almost at all, and actually after Hania there was a beer as well. I didn't saw that it's alcoholic one. I just took it, sip it, and then realized that it's alcoholic one and thrown it away. Sue me. Leaving beer things aside, we have best organizement. Surprisingly, Košice takes a part here as well. Maybe it was because it was their XCM champ, also 20th anniversary event. Everything there was top-notch. In this category we have a new mention, which is vivus.lv marathons, so MTB marathons in Latvia. To give you a bit more of an overview, I'm from Lithuania and I'm racing for the third season, but from last year I started to participate in Latvia as well, and I was surprised by everything, from the level of organization to the race courses to amount of participants and how strong they are. This year I also visited Latvia for a few times, and as usual they keep the level high, everything is very well thought, and it just makes it feel good to return back there at any given time. The race courses there are also pretty hard. A lot of single tracks in the forest, non-rolling things, experience something different. You should definitely try MTB in Latvia. It should be those MTB marathons because they are the hardest in Latvia. So apart from organization, keep in mind that they are also very good as race courses too. And last but not least, Algarve's Bike Challenge. By the way, it was 10th anniversary event. Tom 10 went to 10th anniversary event. It started on March 10. So it was just a lot of things together compounded into a lot of tents. In terms of the organization of things, Algarve had really high level as well. And if we take a look how these three contenders stacked together, at the third place it would be Vivus, then Košice was great, and at the first place 10 votes go to Algarve's Bike Challenge. I don't know the reasons as well. Maybe it was because 10th anniversary event, maybe because there are a lot of participants. You just have to keep the quality high in order to make everyone happy. But basically 3-day stage race, great starting package, great organizement, food afterwards, etc. So it was just great event through all the angles. Before we go into the worst race course of the season, I invite you to check the race crashes of the season, where surprisingly I participated in only few of them. Others I just managed to capture at the right moment, at the right time, when everything happened and unveiled in front of the camera just few meters away from me. From that sense, and from the other, I was lucky. I didn't crash myself too much and I managed to record others being crashed. So hopefully everyone is fine. There was one dislocated collarbone for sure. Hopefully Jan from Czech Republic healed successfully without any consequences. And also Latvian legendary Flaxis managed to heal his broken ribs, and he will return stronger next year to maybe take yet another win in Tartu Marathon. Who knows? If you like what you see, you can always hit that like button as well as subscribe, and we will meet in other videos as well.
All good? In English?
I have to change.
Do you have spare or not? What you don't have? What you need? Pump?
No.
CO2?
No. I just can.
The valve don't have.
And I need
Yeah.
to change it and
Yeah, I got it, but I don't have any tools, unfortunately.
To add few data points about that, in 27 races, the average weighted watts was 280. Total elevation per race reached out almost 1k of meters per single race. What else I could add about this? The highest speed was almost 32 kilometers per hour, which most likely was in Tartu Marathon. We also had the longest distance of 102 kilometers and the biggest weighted watts of 332 for 3 hours, I guess, or something like that. When I started to create those videos 3 years ago without anyone asking me to do so, my main intention was to showcase the race courses for the world, and maybe, just maybe, someone will arrive to Lithuania and try those races, experience those, and just spread the word about racing in Lithuania on MTB. The reality struck me quite fast once I started to go abroad, in Latvia, in Estonia, in Poland, and a bit farther down from our region, just to figure out that there are tons of race events, there are different series, different disciplines. At the best, someone from foreign countries might arrive if the card shuffled in the right way, just like I do in other countries, and not just for the sake of very great race courses. Maybe someone out of curiosity can visit few races of Karma Experiments because they are exceptional on their own. Also, maybe someone would visit La Pay or Kulautuva to just experience the taste of MTB in Lithuania. So shout out to Scott from Australia, Justina from Poland, as well as few Latvian guys who expressed their wishes and intentions to someday maybe visit Lithuania and race there. It's very nice when a foreigner who lives in Lithuania, after watching those videos on YouTube, decides to participate in one race or the other. So shout out to Ilya, Roman. So if you are watching this and you want to participate in the races in Lithuania, just go there, do it, and everything will be fine. However, the worst experience by the race course is not going to have any contenders. There's one and single one, and it's Naujamiestis nearby Panevėžys, where this year we had XCM champ. So the race course is not terrible in terms of how it is, but then we consider national champs being organized in such race course, where we go into the fields 30 kilometers plus per hour, and that's about the technique you need to have. What has the higher power in the legs wins the race. That's the reason why I would say such race is not suitable for XCM champ, especially when you compare what others has. So for example, in Latvia this year it was APE 100 kilometers, probably 1k plus of elevation, very hard course. You definitely can compare with Poland, where they do XCM this year in Jelenia Gora, I believe, with 2k plus of elevation. In Lithuania you could also have a lot better choices for XCM champ. Surprisingly, after a lot of negative feedback about the race course for nationals, etc., in 2024 it's going to happen there as well. In these type of situations you understand that Lithuania is different part of the world when it comes to MTB and understanding what it is. And even though there are some really great cups like Karma Experiments, Žemaitijos Taurė, the others has very tiny amount about MTB in general. If you can go in such race on the gravel bike, that's the end of the story. With that being said, this was race analysis of 2023. If you like what you see, chances are high that you will also like race analysis of specific races, which are all added in the playlist based on the season. So you can find races from 2023, 2022, and 2021, but it was without the commentary at that time, and it was just pure highlights. But if you want to check the races, how they look like, it's just a perfect scenario to have a look at. What 2024 will bring, we'll figure out very soon. All I can say to you is to keep your eyes open and look for number 10. The 10 is the answer.